Hello, and welcome to Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. I'm Gloria.
And I'm Rosetta.
And it is lovely to connect with you again today, as we always attempt to remind you to always be in the spirit of kindness and to be compassionate as we engage with each other.
Attempt.
Well,
I like that.
She goes, well,
Attempt, we do. We want to do it.
Yes, we want. That's our goal. However, we're human beings and we understand people.
Yes.
So we're not, we're not whipping it, we're not trying to whip you. We're just trying to help you to be in the present moment.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Another week. How you all doing? And just want to remind you before we get going, that we'd like to say thank you to all our supporters. Welcome to our new fans.
Yes.
And we would love if you could hit the thumb icon. Please subscribe to our channel because we love doing these chats, and hit the bell notification.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And if you're new, you don't know, but we are Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. So we like to talk about the teas that we're drinking.
Yes.
And today we're drinking Tazo chai. Have you heard of Tazo chai? Organic spiced black tea. We haven't had a black tea in a while.
Right. We tried something different.
Yeah, I like it because it's spice. I love anything spicy.
Yes.
And you go ahead and read it since I didn't bring my glasses.
We're going to get her to leave a pair of glasses here so she always has them. Okay, so the ingredients are black teas, ginger root, cinnamon bark, black pepper, got to have that, igniter, the black pepper, cardamom seed. Cardamom seed.
Yeah.
Yes. Clover and star anise.
That's seed. The licorice.
Yes, which is her other favorite.
Yes.
So it is all organic, spiced. The ingredients are from they're produced in the Himalayan mountains.
All right. Can you see I'm excited?
So as you know, we always
steep it beforehand, and then we
always
smell it.
Move my little bag around so that I can smell it
more, so we can mix it up as well. It smells really, really good.
Oh, it smells very good, very delicious.
All right,
Cheers.
Cheers. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of that Good Earth, sweet and spicy, but minus the sweet. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, because it's full-bodied.
Yes.
When you first drink it a little bit, you're like, because the aroma hits your nose right away. Yeah. And then you're like, okay.
It's like that sweet and spicy from Good Earth without the sweetness to it. I like it.
And it brewed very fast.
Yes, it did. That's good.
Okay. Let's get our party started. So, our thoughts and prayers go out to the whole human race. We are always attempting to bring consciousness into the conversation. We want everyone to be socially responsible for their actions, cause and effect. If you do good, you receive good. So how about we flip it instead of being crazy chaotic? So in the spirit of kindness, let's get going.
Yep.
So I don't know if you know, there's a woman named Grace Jones. She's very statuette. She did a model. She was the first one that did one of those square mohawk kind of hairdos.
Yes, and she was in one of the 007 movies.
Yes, she's a Bond girl.
Yeah.
Okay. She was in a movie with Eddie Murphy. And she's just, she's an amazing performer. Well, Grace Jones is 75.
Wow, I thought she was older than that.
Oh, but the thing is she's currently doing a 5-country tour, and she has 12 concerts scheduled.
Oh, I had no idea that
at
she was
75
even singing still.
So Whoopi Goldberg was talking about her on The View. She went to see her, and she's like, she's phenomenal.
Where did she see her? In
New York. Yeah.
New York. Wow.
Yeah. So good for you, Grace.
I've even forgotten some of her songs, her music. But
mine is Pull Up to the Bumper. Pull up to the bumper, baby.
Oh, yes. That's right. That's right.
That's one I remember.
Yeah, that's one of the more popular ones.
Yes. So good luck and I think it's fantastic at 75, it reminds me of Tina Turner. You don't stop till you're ready to stop.
Right.
And
right.
if she's got the grace and the talent and the
the
energy
lungs for it,
yes,
then why not?
go for it. American Got Talent. So did you watch?
Yes, I did. Did you watch, people? Are you watching America's Got Talent? I particularly love. All right. Well,
Yeah, keep going.
you take your lozenge. But
Keep
America's Got Talent, there was some very, very good performances, auditions. This was from the most recent one.
Yes.
And the few that I have, because we're not talking about every one of them, just the few that I have is Ronald Abante, the Filipino singer.
Mm-hmm.
He came out, he didn't speak much English, even though he can speak English. I had a translator with him.
Right.
And he sang When a Man Loves a Woman.
Yes.
And I wasn't thinking he was going to be good because he could barely speak English and he was a bit,
Right.
he was very excited to be there.
Yes.
And I said, well, let's see how he goes. I'm telling you, I was blown away just like the judges.
Yes.
His voice is amazing. Amazing. At the beginning when he started out, because he had a slight accent, it came through at the very beginning.
Right.
But after that, just the very beginning, but after that, it was clear and we could hear all the words and he just sung really, it was just, his voice is so good. For
Amazing.
me, I always think, why are people applying to be on AGT when they have such good voices? They could go on. Well, I know American Idol you can't because there's a cutoff age.
Right.
But what about the voice?
But some of the people, they don't know where to go.
Right.
They don't know how to let somebody hear them sing. They sing in their shower.
Right. Well, I'm sure this guy has done a lot more than just singing in his shower. So
Right.
He's so good. If you haven't seen AGT, Google him or go on YouTube. His name is, Roland Abante. I'm going to put his name down below so you can check it out.
Yes.
And also the other girl that really I love, two other people. One was a 12-year-old girl called Brian Cummings. And she was the little girl, 12-year-old girl, that wanted to be a ventriloquist. After
Yes.
she had seen Darcy Lynn,
Yes.
she said to her mom, I want to be just like
I want
Darcy
to do
Lynn.
that.
But what I didn't know was she took it to another level and she made her own original skit.
Yes.
Which is very nice because sometimes you want to be a ventriloquist, you just copy the same old thing.
Yeah.
But she took it up another notch. Instead of just being a ventriloquist, she was also a magical mentalist.
Yes.
And she's very confident.
Yes.
I mean, me at 12, I was not confident, but she was so confident. She had the facial expressions.
Yes.
She was amazing. And I think that she could go very, very far in this. And I could just see her now having her own show in Vegas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really, even if she doesn't win, I think she should get her own show.
Yes. I
She's
think
so
I
good.
think she'll continue to go forward.
Yes. And the other girl, and I completely forgot to write her name.
Okay.
She's blind and she's a pianist. I don't remember her name, if you can remember her.
What was that, Pretty?
That's it, Pretty. She reminded me of Cody Lee.
Yes.
However, she doesn't need as much help as Cody Lee did, right?
Right.
And I think, in my opinion, she was much better than Cody Lee.
Yeah. She's a songwriter too. She writes her own
Yes,
music.
and the song that she sung was her own song.
Yes.
Which was amazing. She went high. Her pitch is perfect.
Her range was just all over the place.
She said her goal is to be in Juilliard.
Yes.
And I'm saying, don't even bother to interview. This is her interview. She
Thank
needs
you.
to go to Juilliard right now.
I mean, for Simon to walk up on stage and say, hello, I'm Simon, and they're communicating with her, and he says to her, did you prepare a second song? And she's like, yes, I did. And he goes, could you do that for me? And he knew she was good. He just wanted to hear her do something current.
Right. That's why he likes, because that's the way that you can judge whether they're good, like as pop singers.
Right.
Whether they can fit into mainstream. Because sometimes people write their own music and it's their own style. And
Right.
It's like, do you really think that's going to be...
Yeah, or is it going to be acceptable?
Right. So So those were the three that I really liked. So what about you?
Okay. I like those, especially Pretty. I thought she was amazing. And my favorite part of her performance was, Sophia was like, you you want her to do another song? Why? Because everybody thought she was great.
Yeah, wasn't she good enough?
Right. And then, so Simon's sitting there and he's leaning back and he closes his eyes and he leans forward and he goes, "My God."
Yeah,
And
he
he
was like
stands up.
mesmerized. He was like,
Yeah, I know. That was really good. I like
was
that.
funny.
There was a gentleman, and what was his name? Oh, his name was John Wines. He's a music teacher. And so they were like, and he was he's a senior person. And he says that his kids at school keep him young and vibrant. And so they're like, so, how Simon normally says, well, what do you want to do over the next 10, 20 years? I think they asked him, what do you want to do over the next 5 years? Because he's much older. And he goes, I want to continue to teach music. And then he starts jamming and he plays We Will Rock You. No one expected him. I mean, his fingers were sliding all up and down.
Because at the beginning, it started off quite slow.
Well, at first it sounded like he was tuning it because, everybody, Simon, he's ready to hit the button. He never gives you a chance. You get one first impression with him. And so the guy walks over there and he's just standing. And everybody's like, okay, is he going to play? And then he blew everybody away. So I like John. And then I think they're going to run out of golden buzzers because we've only had like 3 shows and we've had a golden buzzer each time.
Some good auditions this season.
Amazing. So there's a little boy, I think his name is Komia, and he's the cutest little thing. He did a vision board, and on the vision board, he had himself winning the golden buzzer. He's a little drummer. He's with the Atlanta Drumming Academy. And he's 8 years old. He's just so cute. In the beginning, he's kind of overwhelmed because they asked him his name and they asked him, what's your name and something else. And he was just like, my name is, and then he just froze. He goes, my name, because I think he saw the people for the first time and it just overwhelmed him. So then, we've got lots of parents sitting there. And so they started saying things like, so you want to win America's Got Talent, right? And he said, yes. And then they say, well, what are you going to do? And he says, we're going to drum. And they started drumming. And it wasn't just the drumming, it was the performance as well. And at that point, I'm looking at the kids and I'm thinking, this is amazing. And so the judges stand up, they love it. And then, Simon says, okay, well, it's time to vote. And Terry goes, oh no, you don't even have to worry about that. He comes down the stairs and he says, you had a vision and I am going to help you manifest that vision. And he hit that button and it was just perfect.
Because Terry Crews usually likes to give golden buzzers to choirs.
Yes.
He loves those big choirs.
Yes. And I was surprised that he didn't give it to the choir from the first.
Right.
But he didn't. He saved it. And I'm glad he did. So AGT was very good. What did you think? Comment down below and let us know.
And tell us who you like.
As we've shared with you, we're going to keep an eye on AI. Artificial intelligence. It is going to become quite visible in our lives. It comes with good. It comes with, I don't know. It comes with lots and lots of things. So I was watching, I can't remember if it was good. I think it was Good Morning America. And they were talking about how Paul McCartney wants to bring back John Lennon's voice for a song that they did. And he wants it to be as authentic as it can be, considering he's passed away. And he is looking at using AI.
Yeah, so they used AI in order to do that. What they did was they extracted this from an old demo. That's what it was.
That they had
to finish
done.
it off, and they remixed it and made it into a new song. So that will be obviously the final and last song of the Beatles.
Yeah. Now they recorded the song when they were together during the studio time. They just never prepped it and finished it.
Right.
So he did do the song, They just never finished it.
And also they wanted to make it clearer and better, a
Yeah.
better version of it. But it really is his voice.
It is his voice. It's just with the AI.
Yeah. So this AI thing is getting to be good in some ways and good in bad. It's had some legal issues because they're saying that artists are now being brought into songs when they didn't really sing the song.
Oh, there's a new song with The Weeknd and
Ariana Grande?
No, it's another guy. It's The Weeknd and what's his name? Drake. Sorry about that. So there's a new song that's out. It is climbing the charts. The Weeknd didn't do it, and Drake didn't do it. It's all AI.
I have not heard of that song.
It's on there. Just do Drake and The Weeknd collaboration, and
Okay,
it'll come right up.
Yeah, so I think Drake is unhappy with that.
Yeah, well, The Weeknd is too,
Yes, and
because
then-
they didn't create it.
Right.
So they're like, where are the royalties going? That's my voice. So who's going to get paid for it?
Right. Also, there's another song that Beyonce sung, but then Rihanna,
Right.
she didn't even have anything to do with the song, and she's there. Sounds like she's singing it.
Right. So people think it's cute to play, but I think we also have to be very, very careful, especially when you are stepping on someone's creative talents. There's another phase where Amazon is looking, I think it's called the Amazon Cloud Unit, is looking at the Advanced Micro Devices chip. They're a chip manufacturer in the Bay Area. And they are embedding AI technology into the chip. This is when I start getting concerned, because you have to know what you're doing, and you have to have a degree of responsibility as you're doing it. And there's so much chaos in the market today. We have people who are just flat out liars, despicable human beings. However, they're at the peak where they have opportunities to utilize AI a lot more. So we're going to stay on top of this. Every week, we're going to give you a little update. The most important thing is, if something doesn't sound good, don't believe it. If you get a phone call and it says, "Hi, Grandma, I miss you. I love you. I need some money." Does that sound like something your grandkid would say to you? Even if they needed the money, they normally would go a little bit longer.
Well, out of the blue, they're calling you.
Yeah, just for nothing. When you get text messages, if they say hit links, don't do it. If you get emails and it says hit links, if you don't know the sender very well, don't hit the links. So AI is going to be around, and eventually, it might take them a minute, our government is going to step in and go, wait a minute, this has to be regulated right now, because even the creators of the tools are saying this could be catastrophic if we don't get ahead of it.
Right. There's a lot of good that has already come out of it and can come out of it, just like technology. But I think that there's a lot of harm that can come out of it as well.
Yeah.
And where there's a will, there's a way. People are going to do something. So hopefully, speaking to everybody watching, you use AI if you're using it for good.
Yes, absolutely. So last week we talked about a plane that was on its way from India to San Francisco, and it had some malfunctions, and it had to make an emergency landing in Russia. They went through some really tough times because supposedly they had no way of receiving American money. There were people on the flights that they weren't able to buy food or water, just bare necessities. Some of the locals took care of them as best they could, but they didn't have a lot to share. I'm so happy to say that they made it back safely, and they're on American soil. So thank God for that. I've heard that the airline is, we're so sorry, and we're gonna, reimburse you for the flight, and and I'm like, that's really nice, but that was scary.
You never know; they could still be there.
That's true.
So thank you, God,
yes,
or whoever it was, the universe, for helping them, because I would have hated to been in that situation.
Yes. On Friday, we heard some amazing news. There was a flight in Colombia, And it was 3 children and no, 4 children and 3 adults. 7 people were on the plane. And unfortunately, the plane started to malfunction. And so the pilot gave the Mayday, Mayday, and he announced that they were looking for water. He gave his coordinates of where they were and where they were headed. But unfortunately, they didn't make it there. The parent, the mom that was on the flight, perished, as well as the other 2 adults that were on the flights. All 4 children survived. Can you believe that? They ranged in age of 13 to 1. Once again, amazing. The thing for me, your children really do pay attention to what you say and what you do. This mom made sure her children knew their environment. She taught them what foods in the jungles they could eat, what they couldn't eat. I told Rosetta when I was a little girl growing up in the South, I could tell you which berries were good berries you could eat and which berries you better not eat. I could look at a plant and say, oh, that's poison ivy, even if it didn't look like poison ivy, because I had been raised around it to know. So it was through that knowledge. And the baby, so what the older sister did is, because they were in the jungle for 40 days before they were rescued.
Wow.
40 days.
40 days.
So she would take the baby's formula and she would only give the baby just enough to keep it alive. She wouldn't let it drink the whole.
That was one of the siblings.
Yes.
Wow.
The older sister, she did that to keep the baby, nourished and she did that until it ran out. And she said that she had also given the baby water. So they were able to somehow get to the water where they were headed.
Wow.
And they would do that. The children survived due to their indigenous heritage. Their indigenous families and their learning of living in the jungle saved their lives. Maybe that's something we should think about here in the United States, is teaching our children, when you take them camping, when you're out there, you need to know. I remember one time my dad, we went to the lake. He liked to go fishing. And we go to the lake to go fishing. And there was something going on at the time. I couldn't remember. But there were snakes crawling across the road. And I kept thinking, what is going on? Because you never see snakes out on paved.
Right, on paved. You always see them in grass.
In the grass. No, they were paved because they were just everywhere. And my dad kept saying, because he'd just go around them. And I'm like, run them over. And he's like, no, they're not bothering us. And so we got to our spot and we're sitting there. And we left to go to the lake to fish. And when we came back, there were snakes coiled around the steps. And I told my dad, I said, I'm done. I'm out. But at least I knew what the snakes looked like. So as I left to, because I left. I got in my car and I told them, love you, gotta go. And my girlfriend and I, we left because she was sunbathing on the top of my dad's motorhome. And she's like, she's screaming. I go, what? She says, there's a snake climbing up the side. I was like, okay, we're done. But at least we were in the environment. But that's something we don't really teach our children.
No, we don't teach them a lot of that. Like, that's more like things like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. If you're going to do kind of like the outdoorsy kind of nature,
right,
day camp kind of things, they'll teach you that. But even then, they don't teach you as much as you would think they could teach you.
Right.
I never was raised that way, which is why I don't like camping.
Right.
And I'm not a big fan of the outdoors.
I'm a glamper.
Yeah.
I go glamping.
I
got to have a motorhome. That means like we stayed in a motorhome and we parked near the bathrooms with hot water showers and electricity. Like when it would get hot outside, I'd go in the motorhome, turn on the air conditioner. That's a glamping.
That's probably me.
Yeah.
I've been camping. We do have the camp, the tent and the mattresses, but that's too much work. Sorry.
I love it. So thank God for the mom for, raising her children to be self-sufficient. And we'll keep an eye on it because they now they're just trying to get the all of the kids nutritionally back up to normal, and then there'll be this whole situation of what happens to the kids. Hopefully somebody in the family is going to take them all and not split them up.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hopefully. Here in Northern California where we live, we're very close to San Francisco. It is a hot spot for tourism. People love it. And all of a sudden, it has not been getting a lot of love. It has gone from one of the most beautiful tourist locations to not so beautiful and not so safe.
Yeah, this all happened, I think, in my opinion, it all happened during pandemic.
Yeah.
Because people see San Francisco, the heart of San Francisco, downtown Union Square financial district, is all based on, they get their money from tourists and people working in San Francisco. You're only going to go to San Francisco if you're working there or a tourist.
Right.
And because of pandemic, nobody was working and tourists were not coming to San Francisco. And the rent was too high.
Right.
So everybody was leaving, because I watched a YouTube documentary about that. And they were saying it's like a ghost town. People are leaving because rent's too high. It's just, if they're working from home, well, they could live anywhere, right? But lately, probably in the last few months, I've been hearing more and more news stories about how San Francisco is getting more crime,
Right.
more robberies, and businesses because of that, and not many tourists are coming because of that.
Right.
People are not shopping in the famous, Union Square is famous
Yes,
with the Macy's,
it's infamous. And the thing,
Nordstrom's.
like she says, Macy's and Nordstrom's. Yeah, we have those stores everywhere else. However, the merchandise in Union Square was always a step above. You would see dresses there that you don't see in the
Exactly.
other locations. So it's a big deal that is no longer an option.
So now, we first heard about all this robberies and crimes because
Yes.
a lot of Walgreens were being robbed.
Yes.
So they had to close down all the Walgreens because of the robberies, and they couldn't control it, or they had to close at 6 p.m.
Right.
But they started with 6 p.m. and then they had to close it down completely. And then now we're hearing that one of the biggest companies, Westfield, I'm sure you've heard if you live in the Bay Area, Westfield Shopping Center, is actually closing in the heart of Union Square.
Yeah.
And they were big. It was in a massive mall where it had like
Yes.
escalators, 3 floors.
Yes.
There was food at the bottom and all these other retail stores.
Yes.
And they said that they've stopped paying their mortgage.
Right.
And I didn't know that their mortgage was $558 million they were paying.
Yeah.
Cannot believe that. But even before they stopped, a lot of these stores within the mall and within Westfield were closing and gone. And it's crazy. They're saying that in San Francisco, a lot of other stores like Gap's and even Whole Foods are gone.
Right.
Where they used to be
Wow.
popular there. And since 2019, here's a statistic. Since 2019, 50%, this is half of all the stores have left San Francisco. I didn't even know this.
You can't survive.
It's
with
crazy.
that.
And this first quarter of this year, 2023, has been a 16% increase in robberies. People are just scared to go drive to San Francisco because of the
Yeah.
sheer amount of people breaking into your cars.
Yeah.
And they're saying that even when you take your stuff out the cars and put it in your trunk, you're still not safe because
Right.
there are people scoping you out when you park, and they know that that's where you've put it. My
Exactly.
friend said that she went to San Francisco with a friend, and her friend put the laptop in the trunk, and when they got back, they realized someone had tried to break into the car and try and get that laptop.
So that.
But because it was so far, they couldn't really get it because they were trying to break in through the back seat, but it was
Right.
too far into the trunk. They couldn't
couldn't
reach
reach
it. But they had been scoping them out and had seen that that's where they had put their stuff. So nobody's safe
Right.
with their belongings. If you have anything, I'm just and even before that, this all happened,
Right.
parking situation was terrible anyway in San
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes. And the expensive. I mean, you pull up to park, and you're like, does that thing say $6 a minute? Come on. I mean, it's very expensive. No cap. And like hotels. You know how like you can buy a pass and you go and you park, and then say you're going to go to a park or something. If you leave and it's $60 to park, when you come back you have to pay another $60 to park. And that's just to park your car. And I loved pre-COVID Carnival. Carnival, I love
Oh
seeing the
yes,
beautiful
yeah,
caramel
that's
people in
over
the
the
feathers.
Memorial Weekend.
Yes. And I did not feel safe getting on BART. And that's the way I mean, I don't like to worry about parking and all that. And when you would take BART, and when you come up the escalator, you'd hear the steel drums, the music, everything.
I went years ago, pre-pandemic, and
Right.
we took BART, and you get off at Civic Center.
There you go.
Nasty, horrible. It just reeked of urine.
Yes.
And a lot of when you get up out of the station onto
Right.
the streets, all the homeless people.
Yeah.
Smells of urine, and it was just even back then it was kind of scary.
Yes. So it's even worse now.
Worse
and
now.
They're trying to figure out how to save our Bay Area Rapid Transit System, which is BART, because in order to get the emissions down, we got to lessen the amount of cars on the road.
Well, they're not going to save BART because they've actually, like, I don't know if it was recently or they did it before, but now they're allowing homeless people to stay on BART.
Yeah.
Because I went on BART and there was a homeless person stretched across the seat and they couldn't kick him out because that's the law. You're not allowed to do that anymore. They wanted the homeless people away from the streets. So there you have it. That's our situation in San Francisco, and it's getting worse and worse. And,
and what do you think? What do you think could be done? Comment below. Share your opinion. Let's have an interactive conversation about this.
I think I also heard that San Francisco is on the top list of being on the top there for one of the places not to come to for tourists because of the dangerous.
And it's starting to flip, which is good because people are coming and they're like, it's not as bad as I thought. I thought there was just going to be criminals running amok, and it wasn't that bad. And I know that Mayor London Breed is trying to shift this because that is their economical source, tourism. So she's got to fix this and fix it fast because people only give you so much time. And if you don't fix it, they will fire you, they will recall you and put somebody else in place.
Exactly.
We're experiencing unusual weather. Our unusual weather, though, it's cooler than normal. For us to be in the summer, like today is supposed to hit 79. We'll see, and then I think by Saturday we're supposed to hit 89.
It's meant to be pretty hot the whole week.
Yeah. But, it's warm during the day. At night, though, it's going to 55, 56, so it's cold. And if there's wind, it's really cold. In the middle to the East Coast, they're experiencing some, once again, pretty severe weather. Hail, rain.
Thunderstorms, thunder watches. They're telling everyone to, watch out.
Yeah, be
There's
careful.
Going to be storms. And we're in June, right?
Yeah. Summer.
Halfway through, this is summer, complete summer. So people watching, if you don't believe in global warming,
what do you think is causing this?
Yes, what is causing all this drastic weather conditions when it's meant to be summer? We're supposed to be having 4 seasons.
Yeah.
But we're not getting 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So we've talked about like the global warming many times and things you can do as a human to take responsibility for that so that we can all come together.
Yes.
Because one person, another person, it becomes a community.
Absolutely.
And we can start doing things to help.
Absolutely.
And in our past videos, chats, we've actually talked about practical things you can do.
Yes.
But just do your thing. Recycling is number 1, and composting. Compost your food.
Yes.
Those are.
And I know, I'm one of these prudish women. Oh, the smell. Just, put it in a Ziploc bag or something and put it in your little compost container. So when you take the top off, you don't pass out. There are things that you can do that it's just a little bit of discomfort. However, it's great for the planet.
We're going to keep reminding everyone every week because we know there's different people watching.
That's right.
So recycle and compost as much as you can.
Yes. Well, the NBA Finals is done, and it was done in 5 games. I mean, it was very surprisingly. And the Golden Nuggets.
Yes.
Yes. First time in the franchise history.
Yeah, that's true, because they've only been around for 6 years. And I went in April to Vegas.
Right.
And I think I mentioned this, but our hotel window overlooked the stadium where they played, and there were actually some home games there.
Oh, nice.
And there's a big jumbotron outside the stadium, and we got to see everything that was happening on
Inside
the jumbotron
Nice.
inside. And it was loud, and there's a plaza right below it, and that's where everyone gathers. People come from all over, and we see them coming, and we hear the loud music, because during halftime they have music.
Oh,
they have
yeah.
a DJ thumping the music,
Oh, yeah.
and we hear all of that. So it was quite exciting. And when we went into the hotels, they're saying, oh yeah, you know that before the games they come through the hotel and they do all the cheering and the cheerleaders and stuff. We missed it that one time, but it was quite nice. But to hear and see, because I don't watch it on TV,
Right.
but I just heard that they won. Yes,
Yeah.
so good on you, Golden Nuggets.
And Vegas has started to attract a lot of sports teams. They also attracted a ice hockey team, and they just won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, I was talking about the Stanley Cup.
Yes, they just won. And, it's very interesting how things are just evolving when it comes to all these sports. Right now they're after our Oakland A's. They want to move them to Vegas, and we'll give you the world, but the world is going to cost those taxpayers some money. So, I don't know how this is going to end up, because the locals don't want the A's to leave. They would prefer the current owner to sell the team so it can remain here in Northern California.
What were you talking about, and what were you talking about initially? Were you
I was
talking
talking
about the hockey, or were you talking
I'm
about
talking about the hockey.
Oh, because you said NBA.
No, NBA, National Basketball
Association.
That's the Nuggets. Yeah, we're doing a lot of sports here. NBA is the Nuggets win. Then I moved on to the fact that Vegas has a brand new that they just got expansion team in the hockey industry that won
Vegas.
I was
talking about the hockey.
Yes, and they won the Stanley Cup. That was just on the news either yesterday or the day before. So that's real hot off the press. And then I was talking about same thing, Vegas. They're looking at, bringing the Oakland A's to Vegas.
Okay, you're right. Because I was talking about the
they'll
Golden
have hockey,
Knights.
they'll have hockey, they'll have football, and now possibly baseball.
Baseball, wow.
So Vegas, to me, it's like it's becoming all inclusive. It's very family oriented. It's very nightlife oriented. So it's like go to one location and do many things. So we just wanted to say congratulations to both of the recent winning teams, and we'll see how that just continues to evolve. Mississippi had, our subject we don't like talking about, however we want to keep you all informed, another shooting.
Yeah, an officer was called on the scene. There was a mother fighting with her boyfriend, and the son, let's see, I forget, he's 11 years old. Write that down, because we had a lot of kids, talking about a lot of kids today, so I can remember, 11-year-old, and he came out and he overheard all this arguing, and the mother told him to call the police. And when the police came, he told everyone to get out of the house, come out of the house, and he shot the 11-year-old. And the 11-year-old said, because now, after the fact, he's talking about this, and they asked him, how did it feel? What did it feel like? It felt like I had been, I don't know how he knows this, but it was like a stun gun. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Well, probably, how kids play with the paint guns.
Right. Maybe
because that's what, I took my baby for a birthday, and I got hit with one. I was like, I'm done. It hurts.
It's painful. I'm telling you. Even my husband told me, because he used to go with his guy friends.
Yeah.
And he got bruised.
Oh yeah.
I said, what's that from? He goes, that's from the
paintball.
Paint. I'm like, what? Yes. I'm never doing that. Forget it. You're getting bruised. I'm not going to forget it.
Yeah. So imagine an 11-year-old experiencing that pain.
Yeah. And he was hospitalized for 5 days. Guess what he got? Collapsed lung, cut on the liver, and fractured ribs. And they're now putting into an investigation as to, obviously,
what happened.
Obviously, the police officers is not going to say, you know, he was in the wrong or anything. But what I like is now he's on suspension without pay.
Thank you.
Without pay.
Thank
Because
you.
we've talked about this before. Why is
Yes.
it always that the police always go on suspension with pay?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You're without pay, and if they find out you did nothing wrong, they can back retro the pay.
Yes.
But to give you money while they investigate you, so I'm happy to
Yeah.
hear that it is without pay.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Policemen don't know why they shot him, and that's the thing. There again, in America, cops are allowed to carry guns.
Right.
In England, they're not allowed to carry guns. All they have is a baton. That's
Exactly. Exactly. And here in Northern California, there's a community called San Leandro, and it's up near Oakland, California. And 2 teens were at an event, and they were both shot. The 16-year-old died on the scenes. The 17-year-old is in the hospital. They're currently investigating because they can't figure out what happened. They don't know if it's gang related, if it was, a drive-by.
it. So those two were friends.
They weren't shooting at each other. These kids just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear about that. That's
So
nice.
there's the investigation is just, they're walking the streets now trying to figure out what happened. So by our next chat, we'll be able to give you a little bit more insight. I know on one hand, parents want their children to be safe and they want to give them the tools to be safe. I think we should go back to the old days. Like I was taught how to fight with my hands. I think we need to get our children out of these quick reactions. You hurt my feeling, I'm going to kill you. You hurt my feelings, you're a punk. You hurt my feelings, I don't like you. You hurt my feelings, I'm going to tell my friends about you. I don't need to go get a gun and shoot you.
Well, because it's too easy to get a gun
It's
nowadays.
too fast.
It's too
You
fast.
can't even think, because you're in reactive mode.
And even if you're not of age to get a gun, you know someone that can get you a gun.
Yes.
Your parents can
Yes.
have a gun in their house and you can take their gun.
And they can think, oh, I got it locked, it's secure, and you're like, oh, I know the code. I've watched you punch it in. So
Yeah. Crazy.
So,
It's too easy.
there's still shootings occurring in the United States. There's still situations where, for whatever reason, our government cannot, please listen to me, cannot restrict automatic weapons. We're not saying take all the guns, just take the repeat guns off the streets. Now, I just remembered this. Surprisingly, Vice President Kamala Harris just announced that there has been a grant to Puerto Rico, which is people don't believe it, it's a part of the United States, to eliminate guns on the streets.
Just in Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Well, of course, they're not going to do it here. The NRA runs this part. So I don't know how they're doing that. But it's a grant that's going to help them with getting guns off the street, because they are also experiencing gun violence like we all are. And
that's nice.
Yeah. So, okay, maybe if that can be seen as a positive situation, then it can retro and come across.
But I didn't really hear much about gun violence in Puerto Rico.
Right.
And they're the first ones that are going to have
this
law enforced.
Yes.
Which is kind of ironic, don't you think?
Because we're the ones that it's
That
like
need it the
every
most.
day.
Yes.
And so, the most important thing, vote. I know you don't think your vote counts. Trust me, it does. Because if one person votes and another person votes and another person votes, so now you got 3. And then you just magnify that. And then all of a sudden, I think when we go through the 2024 elections, if the children are doing what I'm hearing they're going to do, there's going to be a lot of people going home. A lot of people going home because they're attacking, the wrong individuals. And young people, they don't care. You're bi, that's you. You're transgender, that's you. They don't care. And yet our government is riddled with people who care a lot about that. So, I can't wait for us to get to the point where we start seeing these different states, how their elections activities are going to be, because
Yeah.
the kids are like, no, no, I'm done. So please keep your children safe. Do what you can, because I know it's very, very hard to get them to know that they don't have to be reactive. So last week we talked to you about two moms, where a mom, um, there had been something going on with her child. She went over to her neighbor's house to talk to her, and she shot her through the door. Just as a little update, the son that was with her, what happened is that he told his mom what the lady did. She used profanity. She called him very nasty,
Yeah.
derogatory.
And she threw something at him.
Yes, she was just out of control. So the mom went over to talk to her. She didn't have a gun. It was just her and her child. So when she shot her, her child was standing right next to her. Her baby is going through trauma, as you can imagine. And he feels like, if I had just not said nothing, my mom would still be alive. Sweetheart, you did the best you could with what information you had. There
You
is
did
nothing.
the right thing going
Yes.
to your mom.
Yes.
It's better to go and tell your adult
Yes,
than to keep it pented up inside
Inside.
and let the lady keep
Yes.
doing what she's doing.
because she and initially they made it seem like it was a stand your ground, because it's in Florida. Stand your ground. She shouldn't have been on her property and all that. And the more that's being investigated, the more that's coming out. So people, hear my words. All of this bad acting out is not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for our society. It is not good for our planet, because all of this negativity is just swirling around. And that woman should be held accountable, because I don't care what somebody did to you. If I come to talk to you, talk to me. We may have hot words, but you're going to shoot someone and kill them?
See, that's
Right
another
next to their
instance
child?
of getting too hot, too quick,
Yeah.
too fast, and having a gun. Obviously, she had the gun in the house.
Yes, that's really terrible. So, earlier we were talking about recycling and how important it is. So I wanted to share something with you. So since the COVID shutdown, remember, in March of 2020, we were almost all out of plastic bags here in California.
Yes.
They were outlawed. They were gone. And then when COVID hit, people were afraid to touch anything, let alone the groceries, in their own grocery store. So what they used to do is you get your groceries, and then they just put them on either on the thing or
on the
in the bag.
conveyor belt, and then they'll let you pack yourself.
You pack
Right.
yourself, but you could bring no outside bags in. So I think it was around 21, they started with bags. And initially, I thought it was going to be paper bags.
It was. I thought it was.
Yeah, but now we're back to plastic, and it's as many as you can imagine.
I haven't seen who does plastic, because I know
Everybody.
Whole Foods does paper. I've been to Safeway; they do paper.
You can ask for paper, but if you do like the self checkouts, it's just plastic. Yeah, start taking a look. Sprouts, who I love.
Oh well, maybe I'm not
paper
paying
and
attention
plastic.
because I bring my own reusable bags.
Right, but they're back. And so one of the things Rosetta and I are always talking about is, well, what happens when something is recycled? So on Good Morning America, they ran a test. Good Morning America ran this test. And what they did is they took trackers and they glued the trackers to the inside of plastic bags. They balled the bags up, and then they put that bag in another bag, and then they went to, how when you're in Walmart or Target and they say plastic bags recycled here?
Yes, yes.
So those are the two stores they went to, okay? They put 46 trackers, okay, into these containers. So 23 of those trackers ended up in landfill.
What?
Yes. And they also found that 3 showed up in Southeast Asia.
How did it get all the way from here to Southeast Asia?
Because it's, how there are certain Asian countries that they would take this stuff, like remember old computers, they would bang them apart.
Right, yes.
So it's the same thing. They have a place where they used to take all of this, but I had been told they're not doing it that much anymore because China's trying to clean up its environment.
Right. Yeah.
But out of 46, I mean, they didn't end up in the place they were supposed to go. So I think it was like 6 of them actually ended up in a recycling plant. So we have to also, as we're getting ready for our voting cycle, we have to be aware of this so we can go back and say, wait a minute, we got a problem. Because we think we're doing the right thing of putting these bags in these recycle bins at Target and at Walmart. But if they're not getting to where they're supposed to go.
But these plastic bags are not recyclable.
Yeah. That's why they're in our ocean.
Well, yeah, that's why we did away with plastic bags, because they're not recyclable. We should just completely do away with plastic bags. I'm telling you.
Well, plastic, I mean, we have to figure out how to either figure out how to better recycle them or recycle them to begin with, or eliminate them, because it's everywhere.
Make them recyclable, because when you go to the grocery stores, the produce departments, they have those little produce bags.
Right.
They say recyclable on them.
Right.
So they can make plastic bags that are recyclable.
Yeah. And it's just making it a little thicker. So you take those little bags and you put 5 of them together tight to make you one big one to use.
Right. And I also like the fact that some of them are biodegradable.
Yes.
Like I got something in the mail, this padded envelope, and it said on it, big, biodegradable.
Yeah.
So if I throw it in the landfill, it's just gonna disappear. Yeah, it's gonna disintegrate. Yeah. I love it.
I do too. And I mean, I think that would be better. And during COVID, the bags were free. Now they're 10 cents a pop again. So we just have to stay on top of it. We cannot think that they're going to do the right thing just to do the right thing.
Well, maybe you should bring your own bags. Everybody, yes. I have a bag, a recycling bag, and I put all my reusable bag, a big one, and I put all my reusable bags in there, and I leave it in my car.
Yeah.
The best thing is to leave it in your car.
So they're always there. After you've gone
grocery shopping, make sure you put it, next time you go back in your car, bring it back in.
Yeah.
Just shove it all in one bag and leave it in your trunk.
And if I forget, I just tell them, just put the groceries in the cart. I got bags in the car.
That's what I do as well, and I pack it in the car.
Yeah. I used to do that during COVID, so, and I survived. I can continue.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow, I know we covered a lot of things. We're just trying to help everyone have a little bit better conscious day. We feel the love in the room when we're with you.
And we send it back. Send it back to you. And I hope you enjoyed our chat.
Yes.
We did. We covered a lot of things. And we'd love for the conversations continue. So if you want to comment below, we'd love that.
Yes.
And if you want us to discuss anything, talk about something, want to know more about us, let us know.
Absolutely.
We're open for almost anything.
Yes.
Almost anything.
As long as it's kind and constructive.
And clean.
Yes.
Yes.
Because if it's not, you won't be interacting with us. We know how to use the delete button.
Yes. Thank you everyone so much. We appreciate you. And if you liked our video, why not hit that thumb button?
Yes.
And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.
Yes.
If you don't want to miss any of our chats, you know what to do. Hit that bell notification.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Wow. We're Silicon Valley Girls. Chat over tea.
And remember to always keep smiling. Bye.